Hi, welcome back to 16RC Tank Workshop. The channel has been going for about a year now, so I thought it's a good time to go back over what I've done over the last year. I've put together some clips from videos on the channel. Please continue to support the channel by watching the videos and hitting the subscribe button. This is the late Tiger number 212. This was my first Armortek model. I continue to add details to this model, especially the interior, which we will have a look at later. At the time of starting my YouTube channel, this was my only completed running model. So let's just have a look at a few pictures. I then showed you my other late Tiger. This was based on Tiger number 312 of Panzer IV 505. There are a number of really good wartime photos of this vehicle. At the time of starting the channel, it had no electronics fitted. So let's have a look at a few photos of this one. In a later video, I got the electronics fitted and got the vehicle out into the garden. I then showed the Panzer IV. The exterior is almost complete but awaiting its paint scheme. In a future video, I will fit the latest Armortek brushless motion pack to this vehicle. The detail parts on this model are also available to customers of 16RC Tank Workshop. Then we had a look at the Sdkfz 222. This is still at an early stage of construction, but I hope to get back to it soon. It'll have motion and sound fitted. I also hope to do some work on the main gun, as the kit parts are not very detailed. In this video, I show you the interior details added to Tiger number 212. I started making some small interior components and got carried away. 12 years after starting the kit, I'm still working on it. I also supply these parts to 16RC Tank Workshop customers. Here you can see the interior. There's seating for the commander, gunner and loader, and also the floor basket. Many details added around the side of the turret walls. Later on, I'll add some more details to the turret floor. Looking round the turret walls, we have the MG parts box, spare vision blocks, gas mask case holder. I've also started working on the main gun for the Tiger 1 and will be adding these to all of my Tigers. I'll show you some details of that later. And now we have a look at the electronics fitted. This is the older motion pack for the Tiger. This is from about 2007, but I've changed the sockets and cables. My sockets are now XT60. And it's got a newer version of the sound system. The rear deck is removable. This allows access to batteries and speakers. You can also see I have a set of dummy fans fitted. Well, they're not actually dummy, they do work. And then let's have a look at some of the ammunition holders. This is the first one that I'm fitting. And here we have ammunition storage in the radio operator position. And here are some replicas I've made of the radios. In this next video, I show you how I load out the Tiger I with ammunition. I've made these shells in resin. I've made quite a few of them. Shells themselves are impregnated with brass and can be polished. Here we have the ammunition racks that I'm making. These are made in brass. The doors function. A type of accordion door. And I'll eventually have 4 of these fitted. The Tiger I hull is big enough to accommodate these details. Here's a view from a different angle. I've built my own firewall. Also the deck supports, I've made my own. I have space here for another ammunition box, haven't made it yet. And then we had a look at the 88mm gun that I'm making. This is all scratch built. Many components still to add. You can load a shell. I've added some more small components to it, but still lots of work to do on this. In a later video I might show construction of a whole gun from start to finish. This may become available to 1/6 RC Tank Workshop customers at a later stage. And here I'm fitting it to the turret. The elevation mechanism is also fitted. Next I start adding details to the turret floor basket. Details in preparation for a visit to the Armortek factory. Hopefully get some more work done before the visit. In this video I visit the Armortek factory. Drive Tiger 212. We then went into the factory for a look at some of the models produced by Armortek over the years. Here's the Famo. It's quite a big model. Sdkfz 251. The 88mm gun. And the King Tiger They had their full range of models produced over the years on display. And then some customer models outside. Lots of nice models to look at. Even the Bailey Bridge. In the next video, I bench tested the electronics for Tiger 312. So that's forward and reverse working. And let's try elevation. So that's all the motors working. So let's switch off for now. So first of all, we'll switch off the tank. And then we switch off the radio. For elevation, it's the rotary knob. It's channel 6. Channel 1, turret rotation, and channel 2 and 3, drive motors. I then added the sound features to Tiger 312. Let's see what it sounds like driving. So revving. This could be for turret rotation. Driving again. The sound will improve once I build a sound box. It's just a bare speaker at the moment. In this video, I fit the sound and motion packs to Tiger 312. This is the speaker unit I've made. This is the sound unit. It's connected to the speaker. It's also connected to the DMR 203, which is underneath here. Batteries. I have to connect terminals to the battery. And here you can see the main fuse box. And finally, Tiger 312 goes on its maiden drive. In this first video on the early Tiger, I show you how I detailed the rear deck, making the cuts in the grills using a Dremel tool, and then I bore out the filler caps and make new, more detailed filler caps. To do this, I use a stepper drill. The holes made for the new parts, and here you can see I'm making the cap on the lathe. And now onto the milling machine for the final touch. That's the cap complete. Fit the new caps, and then on to adding some fake welds using milliput. This video I also show you the tools I use, and then on to detailing the grills. I also show you how I detailed the grills. And then I show you the materials I use to add casting numbers. There'll be more on this in later videos. In the second video on the early Tiger 1, I show you some hull detailing and the suspension setup. This is the torsion bar suspension setup. It's fairly complicated on the Tiger 1 and easy to go wrong. I show you how I set up the angles. And then we go on to making the hull fillet. Here it is fitted, and now I add some fake weld. In video 4 on the early Tiger, I add details to the rear plate, exhausts, improving the kit parts, the rear toolbox which I've made myself. This is also available to 1/6 RC Tank Workshop customers. I detail the starter plate. This will be for the HL230 engine. I add some brass aftermarket bump stops. These are the exhausts, slightly improved over the kit parts. And I show you how I fit the rear mudguards that I've made. Again, these are available to customers of 1/6 RC Tank Workshop. And then we look at the exhaust shields and how I fit these. I've made some spacers, and here we attach them to the rear hull. And here's the rear starter plate in place. And then we get the rear mudguards into position. I fitted them to the rear hull using countersunk screws. So here I show you how I drill out the holes and then tap the holes just using an M2 screw. And here's the toolbox in place.
And now in with the center drill. Followed by the 3-mirrored drill. And finally, here's the finished part, all ready to fit. And I've added a cone head to an M3 tread. So this will fit on the rear now.
And here it is in position. I'm using the kit tow hook part, but I fitted it with castellated nuts. In video 5, I add many more details to the hull. Here you can see the jack block. Tools, I've used some of the Armortek parts supplied, but added wooden handles. Here I had to make some parts for the rear grills. I didn't have the original parts. And here we have a pry bar that I've made in steel. And I've also made the small brass fittings to hold it in place. And here we have the cover for the air intake on the engine deck. This would replace the fifles for deep fording. And here we have a crank handle, which I've made on the lathe in aluminium. Here we have all the fittings for the track cables on the side of the hull. And I show you how I fit them. And here they are fully fitted to the side of the hull. They're much more complicated than the mid or late Tiger versions. And now I start fitting some of the tools to the upper deck. And now the jack block to fit that in place. In video part 7 I start working on the turret. My turret had missing parts, so I had to make some new parts. Here you can see the gap I have to fill, and these are the new parts made. I also machine off a part of the front of the turret roof, as I want to make it closer to the original. Then I mill out holes indicating the travel lock positions, or the bolts for the travel lock. And that's the front of the roof in place, with welds added. And here you can see the marks for the travel lock holes. And now onto the rear escape hatch. The kit component is a very simple disc, no interior detail and no way to actually lock it. So I want to make a new hatch that will lock from the inside. But whether to use the kit part or make a completely new part. So in the video I show you how I complete this component. It's fully functioning and locks from the inside. Here you can see the hatch, and I've also added a small rubber gasket. So it's a nice detail to add. And here the locking mechanism. This shows how the locking mechanism works. And here it is installed. In part 8 on the Armortek Early Tiger 1, I show you how I go about detailing the kit supplied turret bin. It's a very basic part, but functional. These are the kit components in steel and aluminium. Earlier models were steel and white metal. And a very simple steel lid. These are the basic steel lids and hinges supplied with the kit. But in this video I show you how I replace these lids and hinges and add proper catches. The parts I have to make up the turret bin came from the parts bin at the Armortek factory. I think they may have been seconds, they didn't fit 100% correctly. And I had to file quite a bit off. But eventually I got them to fit together. I'm using this material to fill some gaps. and then show you how I add the rivet detail. In the video, I show you how I form these brass lids for the box. And I also add these catches and padlocks. And here's the rear stowage box fitted to the turret. It's a part worth detailing, it's very noticeable. You can see the rivet detail. Here I have a look at the kit supplied smoke launchers. And here are the replacements made at 1/6 RC Tank Workshop. A lot more detail added. And then the S-mine launchers. These are the kit supplied white metal parts. They're very basic. And these are the ones made at 1/6 RC Tank Workshop. Here we make the cups for the smoke launchers. And here are the smoke launchers fitted to the turret. And now let's look at the S-mine launchers. Not complete yet, a few more components to add. And here they are fitted with all brackets. These are the rear fittings. And here are the front. The normal Tiger has 5 smoke launchers fitted. In video number 10, I show you how I make the 1/6 RC Tank Workshop front mudguards for the Tiger 1. Here we are cutting out the basic shapes. These are the brass angles. I also show you how I add the rivet detail to the mudguards. And here we have hinges fitted. hinges are much more to scale than the kit parts. I've added these much more detailed fittings to attach the mudguards to the hull. They're much closer to the originals. And here they are, fully fitted. I've also added this locking mechanism, which would have been present on the Tiger. I haven't been able to get it fully functional yet. And I've added a track hanger. Another part I've added are these little latches for the MG cover. In video part 11, I fit the wheels and tracks and also do some work on the side skirts. I've added these brass details which will help support the side skirts. They have a tendency to sag, but these will support them in place just like the real Tiger. Once complete, I've etch primed and undercoated. And here's a full set ready to fit. And now I'm fitting them with a reduced head M3 screw. These are a much more solid fit than the kit side skirts. I'll be fitting these to all my Tigers. And next, I show you how I go about fitting the wheels. Some disassembly is necessary at this stage. I've removed this set of wheels from the front to allow everything to fit in. And next, I can fit the outer wheels. And here we have a look at fitting the sprocket wheels. They attach to the shaft with a taper lock. This often gives people problems. The taper lock may need a little bit of filing down to fit snugly. And then we fit the track. I've slackened off the track in order to fit it. And here we have the pin going in to secure the track in place. And after this, we can put more tension on the tracks again. Video part 12 is again focused on detailing the turret. I have a look at the commander's coupler. And here's the finished part. I'll show you in this video. I show you how I go about adding these details. I've made a new coupler roof and added many details to the coupler. And here we have the air vent, the air extractor. Again using some kit components and some new additions. And finally, my fully functioning pistol port. Also coming soon, some boxes from Armortek. Box openings will be a rarity on this channel, as most of my kits I buy used, but I may open this box, or should I say these boxes. Another item coming soon, this is one of the new brushless motion packs. And finally, in part 13, some small additions to detailing, the fire extinguisher, and detailing the holes for the optics for the gunner sights. I make these stepped fittings. Here they are fitted. Then we have another quick visit to Bovington to get measurements for the new addition to the collection. I was in the Bovington area while picking up the latest addition to the collection. It has motors installed, but none of the electronics are connected, so I have to try and manhandle it out of the car. At least the Panzer III is small enough to fit in the boot with plenty of space to spare. Unlike the Tiger, I have to drop the seats down, and carrying passengers is not possible with the Tiger 1. But with the Panzer III or the Panzer IV, it should be easy enough, especially the Panzer III. The vehicle fits in sideways, room even for the ramps. And here we finally have the Panzer III in the workshop, jacked up, ready to disassemble. In part 1 and part 2 I completely disassemble the kit. I show you some of the corrosion I come across. There's quite a bit of corrosion on the kit. And then in part 3 I look at ways of cleaning it. First of all, using a product called Evaporust, which I use on the steel components. It cleaned it really well with no effort from me. And then go on to etch priming the parts. This will stop any further corrosion. In part 4, I start assembly of the lower hull. Here I'm working on the main drive housing. And I've also added some texture to finish. So thanks for watching, that's all for now. Back in the new year with more videos. To help support the channel, please hit that subscribe button and also the like button.